Hey, Mystic Michaela spiritual family. Welcome to Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela. Today, talking about Empath Co-parenting, we have a very special guest. We're talking to MTV star Vee Rivera from the show Teen Mom. She's going to come talk to us about that. She's also the other half of Baby Mama's No Drama podcast. So very excited to have her to talk about it. She gets it. She's blue and purple. But first, hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
What's going on?
I was a teen mom. I'm kidding. Of course I wasn't a teen mom.
It was a hard time for you.
Yeah. But we do have Vee in the green room. She is actually setting up her Vivid wine collection. It's a variety pack. I'm going to go, I think, with the white after the show. I don't drink wine while we tape. It never turns out well. So also those big butterfly hoops. She has some jewelry that she's going to show us. Big butterfly hoop energy, they're called.
Look at you going on Instagram and checking that out.
Yes, and I actually want a pair for myself. And that would fit into me being a teen mom and all. But all right, we got to give her a few minutes in the green room just to get settled and set up.
But, we've been talking today, we're talking about Empath Co-parenting. She's also raising a pink kid, so I'm going to ask her about that too. But, it was interesting, like last night at the dinner table, Abby, who, is our 6-year-old, she, you were there, obviously, and she says, this kid at school, he keeps touching my water bottle, that stresses her out because of COVID, and, they really put that in the kids' heads. And also she doesn't want somebody touching her water bottle. And, and I'm like, well, why don't you tell him, please stop. I don't like that. And she said, it's hard for me to say that because then I know somebody else's feelings get hurt.
Yeah. I mean, I heard her say that yesterday and I was a little taken aback by it. She doesn't have, like, Bree and her are two different kids.
Yeah, our older kid. Yeah.
Bree's our older kid if you haven't been listening to the show. Bree always was she was always tough.
Yeah.
We never had to worry about this.
That we didn't have to worry about.
She was the kid on the playground that was standing up for the kid that was getting, like, let's say, bullied.
She loved it. Yeah.
She loved it. Yeah. She had, like, a friend, Jake, and he was getting bullied one time at the playground. And Bree said, you could make fun of me, but you can't make fun of my best friend, Jake.
Yeah, that's our red kid.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's her. And then Abby is totally opposite.
Yeah.
She's, like, kind of the one that, like, will get a little pushed around a little bit.
She does. It's hard to watch. It's triggering for me.
Yeah.
Because Abby's turquoise, and that's triggering for me, just also being an empath indigo. Because, like, when she says something like that, it's like, man, I relate. and I can't fix it. I can't fix it, and I'm, like, my age, So how do you fix it for a 6-year-old? So I just told her, I'm like, okay, listen, like, but, it's hard to tell somebody something because you feel it in your tummy, their feelings as your own. And that's a big thing with sensitive kids. Like, when they stick up for themselves, sometimes it doesn't feel better. Like, maybe even you listening, when you stick up for yourself, that doesn't make you feel better. But it doesn't mean that you can't not do it. And that right there, and I said, like, I told her that, and I'm like, that feeling in your tummy that, okay, I'm hurting their feelings by saying don't touch my water bottle anymore, that feeling's not going to go anywhere. But you still have to say it. Because you're sticking up for yourself, you still have to do it. And she's like, and she said that didn't help me. That's what she told me. She goes, that doesn't help me. You were right there.
Well, yeah.
She's like, wow, mommy, that didn't help me. I'm sorry. Like, that feeling's not going anywhere. But I'll do readings and people are like, how do I turn off this empath thing? I'm like, yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't, but you still have to choose you. And that's kind of like the lesson, I think, when we're in this world. It's like, yeah, you're not going to turn off the other people's feeling stuff, so you have to choose you and live with it.
Yeah. I mean, I try to give her ideas to help her a little bit. Mm-hmm. And sometimes if you give her the right idea, it does help. This actually happened on the way to school, so you don't even know this one.
Yeah, tell me.
So on Fridays, they get ice. There's, like, if you bring $1, you get ice cream.
Yeah.
So she wanted to bring $2 to give ice cream to, one for her and one for her friend Dylan. Mm-hmm. So, and I said, okay, that's fine. So we gave her $2 instead of $1. And then on the way to school today, when we were riding our bikes, she got, like, a little nervous and upset. And I said, well, what's wrong? She said, well, I don't know if I can give Dylan the ice cream today. And I said, well, why not? You got the $1, just give it to him. And she said, well, another kid named Joseph told Dylan that Abby has a crush on him.
Oh, my God. God.
So, yeah. So
you really got the
yeah,
okay.
This is why we're riding our bikes, by the way. Yeah,
riding your bikes to school. Okay.
Right, yeah, we do this every morning.
Okay, drama.
Yeah, drama.
Okay.
So, so I said, all right, well, what's the big deal? And then she was getting upset that she thought, well, if I give, now that Dylan knows that I have a crush on him and I give him an ice cream, that's going to be awkward and weird. So, I said, well, you don't have to give Dylan the ice cream.
Yeah.
You don't have to. And, she was like kind of, I know, Dada. I'm like, you could give it to Joseph. She said, no, not Joseph. And I said, well, what you could always do, and you probably go get this one, you could always just get 2 for yourself. And that one, then her face lit up and she was like, yeah.
Actually, that was good.
Yeah.
I would never have said that.
Right, you would have said that because,
I would have been like, 2 ice creams, that's a lot of sugar. But for her, in her mind, she's like, hey, wait a second. And you kind of gave her this subliminal message, like, spend it on yourself, girl.
Yeah. So I gave her like the red logic of, hey,
that's 2 for you.
That's 2 for you. And that never occurred to her.
Right.
I
don't even know if they'll give her 2.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, that's a tough one. What would I have said? It would have been more like philosophical, and she'd have been like, yeah, that didn't help again, Mama. Because I would have been like, well, let someone else just do it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So maybe, that kind of helped giving her ideas. I don't know. You're obviously much better at this than I am.
Because I get all philosophical with the kids. Like, I get a little too empathy and too energy. Sometimes, like yesterday, she's like, that's like a real solution you gave her. Sometimes because I said, I don't have them for myself. So it's really hard to raise a kid that goes through something that you're currently dealing with. Like, I don't know how to help you with that. Like, I guess if some person was... Because all that water bottle thing was somebody was going against her boundaries. And, so that happens to me sometimes. I just kind of, I'll dip out because I hate confrontation, or I'll just remove myself from something. And I've never learned how to use my voice. I mean, that's a challenge for me as well. So it's hard to teach your kids something that's a challenge for yourself. So it's kind of it's vulnerable.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll find out. We'll fill everybody in on this. I'm sure you guys are all dying to know who got the second ice cream.
Who got the second ice cream?
Is it Abby? Is it Dylan? Possibly Joseph.
Is it 2?
Or is it
who knows?
Some random kid?
Who knows?
We don't know. All right.
It might be a random kid.
All right, we got one ad we're going to do, and then after that ad, we're going to take a listener's story who's raising an indigo. We got this off the Mystic Michaela Spiritual Family page, and discuss that.
Okay. Do you do that thing where you have the same sheets on your bed and you wash them and you put them back on right after, and it's just over and over again? Well, stop it. Because guess who's back? Brooklinen's back.
Rich and Vicky.
They're back. They are back. And, Brooklinen was started by Rich and Vicky.
Yes.
And they also tried to find beautiful home essentials that didn't cost an arm and a leg. And when they couldn't, they founded Brooklinen as the first direct-to-consumer bedding company.
Yeah, and it's great to see them again.
Yeah.
You know that they will, on occasion, come to your house.
Yeah, if you spend enough money.
Yes. It's been a while for us. We haven't seen them in a while.
Yeah.
They came. We leave the door open. We're in our bed because we don't leave the bed because we have the Brooklinen sheets.
The sheets are like butter.
And it was a little awkward at first. I'm not going to lie. Me and Rich, we kind of gave each other a little side eye and things like that.
Weird.
It was a little strange. But they brought the great cheeses that they always bring.
Cheeses.
Yeah, they brought the Vivid wine from Vee. It was really nice.
Yeah, well, they work directly with manufacturers to make luxury available directly to you without the luxury level markups. That's true. Brooklinen has a variety of sheets, colors, patterns, and materials to fit your needs and taste. Brooklinen has over 50,000 5-star reviews and counting. Mine's one of them. They are so confident you will love their products. They even offer a 365-day money-back guarantee. And Brooklinen is so much more than sheets. They've got comforters, pillows, towels, even loungewear, and more. It's a really great gift idea if somebody, housewarming, or, kid has their new apartment or dorm or something like that. It is pretty cool. So give yourself the comfort refresh you deserve and get it for less at Brooklinen. Go to brooklinen.com and use promo code KYA to get $20 off with a minimum purchase of $100. That's Brooklinen, BROOKLINEN.com, and enter promo code KYA for $20 off with a minimum purchase of $100. That's brooklinen.com, promo code KYA. Hey, Scotty. So, yeah, we were talking about Abby, raising a kid that's a little sensitive. Today, we're talking about empath co-parenting. Vee also has a pink kid, so we're going to talk about that, sensitive kids, how you deal with it, how you deal with parenting, all sorts of stuff. But you had something that you wanted to share about a Mystic Michaela spiritual family member from the Facebook page.
Yeah, so I found this from one of our listeners, Amarena writes. I'll just give her your first name, of course. And she says, I have a question for you all. Hope you can help me with some insight.
Okay.
All right, first of all, she doesn't know her aura colors. So what do? We stalked her.
She's blue and purple.
She's a blue and purple, right?
Yeah.
All right. She thinks she's indigo, but maybe she's a blue to go. Who knows?
Yeah, today maybe she's blue. Sometimes if it's like a quick confirm, it's just I just look at it real quick and there it is, depending on your day. It could be a little darker or lighter, but yeah.
Right. All right. She says, I'm definitely raising an indigo. He's a sensitive 10-year-old boy who knows he's a bit different. He even asked if he has autism. She says he doesn't.
That's interesting.
Yeah. He's wise beyond his years. Regularly when she tells him it's lights out, she finds him in bed reading. He has different crystals that he uses, gemstones. He says they help him, and they talk about it. And he also uses, same with Epsom salts. I'm not sure. What are Epsom salts?
You get them. They're actually really cheap. You just go to the drugstore and you get them and you put them in your bath. I do it when I'm really stressed out or I feel like I just need to cleanse myself. You stick them in the bath. You just soak.
Okay. So again, this kid's only 10.
That's amazing. It's amazing that he's just got this insight into what helps him.
Right. So this is the question. My question is, at what point, how do I start teaching him about how he's an indigo? So many things make sense now. Do I just bring it up casually here and there? Like I know how he feels, but I don't think anyone else does. And we're kind of on our own little island.
Like in their, in their own world.
Little world
you
of this.
feel like that when you're a highly sensitive person. You do feel like you live on an island and nobody swims out to you too often. Yes, that's true.
There are books that we can read together. Do I just start talking about auras and see what he says? He is in counseling, she goes on to say, for anxiety. So this is very interesting. So she herself is a blue, possibly indigo. He's an indigo. It seems like they're kind of in this boat together. Not too many people around. I mean, and this can definitely happen, especially in this world where other people might understand this term indigo or empath, and they're just like,
man up, kid, you're 10. Yeah. And that's the problem with our society. We've talked about this a lot. Like there's a lot of pressure on boys not to be sensitive, actually to be, that sensitivity isn't masculine, which is totally a weird, I guess, agreement that makes no sense. In our world, as we kind of explore it, a lot of boy moms, I think, are dealing with this too. So I think, just from what I do with my own kids and from what I see with people who I read people a lot. Also, we did Your Kid's Aura, Your Child's Aura. We did a whole podcast episode on that if you go several episodes back. But kids are able to understand a lot more than you think. And they understand because as adults, and this is what I noticed, as adults, like, what do? Like, we put so much stuff. There's so many layers. There's so many filters. There's so much programming that's already happened. When you're a kid, you don't have any of those, like, walls or fortresses around just truths about who you are. So any age really is a great age as a kid to be like, hey, you don't have to say indigo. If you want to bring up the aura colors, you can. Kids really do understand them. But if you want to just go into, hey, you're really, you feel other people's feelings as your own, that's a sense, just like smelling or touching or hearing, feeling other people's as your own is another sense. They don't teach it in schools. Not everybody has it as much as you might have it. It's, it can vary from person to person, just like some people have a great voice and some people don't have a great singing voice. It's just kind of a skill, but everyone can sing, right? But some people can sing better. Everyone can feel other people's feelings. Some people can feel it a little bit more. Kids get that immediately. It doesn't take them like years to figure that out. They're like, oh, okay, that's what I'm doing. So when I go to class and I see that they're struggling, my other classmates, or I pick up other people's energy,
right,
or, or whatnot, or I feel like that, I'm just picking up something from the teacher, like maybe the teacher's having a bit. It's not me. I just feel them. That's all.
Yeah, because she goes on to say he worries about everyone in the class, like little Timmy not being able to find his eraser. Yeah. Susie trying to sharpen her pencil but keeps breaking. That's very stressful for him.
Yeah.
So, like, if it was, let's say, I forgot if she didn't put his name down.
Okay.
Well, let's say if he was a girl, let's say he was a girl.
Yeah.
Then would this be such a big deal to
Yeah.
to
Well,
her?
I think it would be kind of like how we're dealing with
Abby.
Abby.
More like Abby,
you know,
yeah.
like, oh, you know, I don't, and I'll be honest, like, I talk all this all the time. Society is a pressure. So that Abby's a girl and I have to teach her about her sensitivity, that's easier for me than I feel like boy moms teaching their boys this. It just is, because society is such like a pressure on us to be like, oh my gosh, like, are you going to survive the world being so sensitive? You know, but the thing is if they know it's a strength, actually they'll survive it the best. Because the only thing that keeps, I think, all of us as we understand ourselves better down is thinking this is a weakness. When honestly, it's such an amazing strength. It's just all the things we were told to put it away or hide it or compensate for it, or that it's associated with being weak or silly or emotional or just or not competent. Those are all wrong. Those things are wrong that we were taught. And when we own it, and it's just easier to teach ownership at a young age. Like, hey, no, it's a special skill. No, that's right. Not everyone's going to understand it. That doesn't mean it's not your superpower. Like, it is a superpower. If you can understand how other people are feeling and you just get over your own need to, like, heal them, you know, or whatever, or fix it, or, like, whatever that's a superpower. That's, like, for bosses, for coworkers, for relationships, for your whole life. You just know you have that gift, and it does, and you taking the next step, oh, I should hide myself, or I should fix them, or I should be this for them. You know, if you can take that out of it, man, you soar. And so, yeah, I think talking to your kids openly about it, they'll get more than, and they might have great insights themselves.
Yeah. All right.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, that was
I'm
really good.
Thank you, Amarina, for sharing that about your son.
Yeah.
And it sounds like she's doing like an amazing job because she lets him be him. And look at all the language and tools he has to you know, self-care. I think that's great.
Yeah. And if you went to Abby's school, maybe that ice cream would be for him.
That would be for him.
Ice cream. Yes. That second ice cream.
We found Abby's mate.
There you go.
Oh, that's what I would have told her. I would have been like, first of all, and I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I always say this to I don't like this boyfriend-girlfriend stuff.
No.
No, because so she's always like, I have a crush, and he's my boyfriend. I'm like, no, you have friends that are boys. You don't have crushes. We like everybody. You can have a friend that's a boy and just like them.
Right.
You know, I try to keep that because I don't like pushing that, oh, it's your little boyfriend, or oh, it's your little girlfriend at this age.
No.
But she brings it up that way to me you. So that's what I would have done. I'm like, first of all, he's not your crush. He's your friend.
Yeah. Right. I mean, obviously.
I don't know if that's right or
no,
wrong.
You're totally right. No boyfriends, no girlfriends. How do you think I became a teen mom? Okay. Okay, so I'm learning from my mistakes on these kids. No boyfriends, no girlfriends until at least 25.
Okay.
You're right, 28.
28. That's when you're okay with the kids getting relationships? Okay, Scott.
28 to 30, maybe 30.
That's a dad thing. I don't care about that.
Yeah, no. You know what? No, you know what? They should never. No.
That's what I would say. Like, he's your friend. Find a new friend to give that ice cream to.
Boys are not good. Boys are not good.
All right, Scott, stop. Stop. You just went into like a whole thing.
All right. Well, Vee is almost done.
Okay.
She just handed me a Brunch Vibes layered chain.
Oh, that's great.
I'm going to wear it when I go to brunch.
Brunch vibes.
Yeah, because it's brunch vibes. All right. I wouldn't wear it to dinner. All right. We got 2 more ads, and then we have Vee.
All right. Do you find yourself wearing your yoga pants like overtime? Maybe you're wearing those go-to leggings to do more than just work out. Well, guess what? You're not alone. I'm with you. And you can find way more options you'll want to wear all the time at Girlfriend Collective. Girlfriend Collective is sustainable, ethically made activewear for everyone. They make such cute and comfortable bras, leggings, shorts, tanks, tees, and more. And their sizing is inclusive, ranging from extra, extra small to 6XL. Whether you're working out, running errands, or doing nothing at all except looking cute, Girlfriend Collective has functional fabrics, colors, and styles for any activity. Their best-selling leggings are squat-proof. Very important, people. Come with pockets and have different levels of support, whether you need compression, like me, or softness. Join the collective today and feel good about what you buy and comfortable in what you wear. For listeners of this show, Such a great deal. Girlfriend Collective is offering $25 off your purchase of $100 or more when you go to girlfriend.com/KYA. That's $25 off $100 or more when you go to girlfriend.com/KYA. That's girlfriend.com/KYA. Hey, Scott, have you ever been just too damn high?
Yes, I am right now.
Well, we've all been there with today's weed. Sometimes it's a dangerous game, but Dad Grass is reviving the pleasure of the casual smoke so you can chill out without the stress.
Yeah, I just want to get high more like when my parents did it in the 70s.
Well, Dad Grass is legal, organic, smokable hemp that relaxes your body and mellows your mind. Their 100% organic pre-rolled joints are very low in THC and high in CBD, so you can enjoy the effects of CBD while keeping a clear head. Chill out without getting stoned. It's like having a glass of wine, not the whole bottle. All Dad Grass products are federally legal for ages 21 and over, and it ships right to your door anywhere in the U.S. Whether you're looking for a new buzz or a chill way to enjoy an old favorite, Dad Grass will leave you in a euphoric mood. So right now, Dad Grass is offering our listeners 20% off your first order when you go to dadgrass.com/KYA. Go to dadgrass.com/KYA for 20% off your first order. That's dadgrass.com/KYA.
Hey, bro, let's use some Dad Grass while I train you for Dancing with the Stars.
Hey, bro, only if we play Candy Crush on my bed.
Hey, bro, only if I could take my shirt off and drink hot coffee.
For sure, bro. Okay. Let's talk to Vee about Empath Co-parenting. Hey, Mystic Michaela spiritual family. Oh my gosh, I am here with the lovely Vee Rivera. You may know her from Teen Mom. You may know her from her podcast with Cal Lowry. Is that how you say it? Lowry? Lowry, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's, Kayla Lowry.
Lowry.
I always get mixed up saying her last name,
I'm having the worst pronunciation problems today. Like, I don't know what my problem is. On their podcast together they have, which is Baby Mama's No Drama. And I'm here with her because, oh my gosh, I just wanted you all to hear her take on being an empath and what that is like with co-parenting. Because, wow, I can't imagine myself going through it. Like, I do readings for people who do it. And obviously I know people who do it, but I want, you speak the language. So thanks so much for being here, Vee.
Thank you so much for asking me on. I was so excited. We've done an episode for my podcast, so I was like honored to be asked to be on yours.
Oh. Yeah. When we connected, for your podcast, sometimes like I'll do podcasts with people and some people get, everybody gets it because it's just the oraclers, but some people are like, no, I get it. And that was you. You were like, no, I get all of it. And so you were the first one that popped in my mind when I wanted to do an episode on this. So do you know your aura? Do you remember?
Yeah. You told me that I was a purple and blue aura.
Yeah. I mean, how do you see, like, because you kind of understand that, like, how do you see yourself, I have an idea of what you lead with, you know what I mean? But like, how do you see yourself leading? Do you lead more with like that blue where you feel other people's feelings as your own? Or do you lead more, do you feel like with that purple, like where it's kind of like feisty or just immediate intuition and what do you find yourself leading with?
I feel like it depends on the situation and the person, which is kind of weird. But if I feel like the person can take my feistiness, then I might lead with the purple. But I think most of the time when it comes to co-parenting, I do try and lead with the blue and like the more calmer and like understanding side, because there is so many different perspectives and there's a lot of feelings involved, and it can get really, I wouldn't say messy, but I think just complicated, like with so many different emotions and just trying to understand both sides. Like that's kind of where I lean. Like I always try and understand, where my husband's coming from and where Kale's coming from, and like try and help them meet somewhere in the middle. So I kind of try and be like that voice of reason. Although it is very hard because, obviously you have your own opinions and you have, your own take on things. So you do want your voice to be heard and everything, but you also don't want to add any more trouble, or you don't want to add any more rockiness to the already rocky situation. You know what I mean? So I feel like as time has gone by, I've learned to just, give my opinion and tell them how I feel and how I feel like the situation can be helped or whatever. But also to just lean more towards compassion and like empathy. And I don't think that's very common with like co-parenting. I think everything is always very like my opinion, like this is my opinion and this is what we need to do. Like people just get really, and I understand because as a mom, I feel like I'm like that with my daughter. Like the mama bear kind of comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very, I think that's why I really, I empathize with Kale on a lot of things too. And, as a mom and like just seeing her side of things, like sometimes, we can get very feisty and we can get very, as a matter of fact. But sometimes, it's hard to see the other person's perspective when you just have like these, your vision just kind of gets fogged up by just what your opinion and stuff like that. So I can understand how it can be hard to like open up and see the other person's perspective. But, that's what I try and bring to both of them. And I think I have succeeded in most cases.
Yeah, because I love how you said that because you're like, well, you basically just said like that you're so blue that you have this ability to even see when people aren't able to be that way towards you. Like I'm so empathic and I'm so empathetic that I can even understand when people approach me with the way that I'm trying not to approach them and give them a second and like take a step back and let them go through it. And then I'll meet them after they have their initial reaction and then we'll talk. Is that kind of like what you attempt at with this whole situation?
That's exactly how I am. Like I kind of let them go through their own feels and then like when you've calmed down a bit, then we can have a conversation.
I love that. I like that. All right, so let's take everybody back real quick because you have a unique situation because it's really funny. I think it's funny now. Maybe it wasn't funny a while ago, but so you co-host a podcast with the mom of your husband's first kid. That's how that works, right? Like, hence the baby mom is no drama thing. And when you met him, was he already filming with like Teen Mom? How did that work? Because and what was that like?
Yeah, people always ask that question. When I met him, I actually, he was working on music back then. And I think they had did 16 and Pregnant because the whole franchise started with 16 and Pregnant.
Okay.
So then they just pulled people from there to make, I guess, Teen Mom too. So I think they were just right at the beginning. Like things weren't as big as they are now or anything. Like, I don't think any of us thought that the show was going to be as big as it was, especially Kale. I know she probably didn't think that. I'm kind of more in the background. Like it's mostly my husband and her, mostly her story and stuff like that. But in the beginning, he reached out because he was doing music. And at that time I was modeling and stuff like that. So for me, it was like a good opportunity to come out in his music video. And his manager hit me up. So I took the opportunity.
Sure.
And for me, it was just like a business move. Like I was like, I'm going to do this and move on. And that's it. But we ended up really hitting it off. And 10 years later, we're married with a kid.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. So what was it like your purple came to play? That's what happened. Your purple was like, okay, let's try this out.
Definitely came out.
What was it like? Like, I guess this always fascinates me when I talk to people who have TV shows because I'm like, what does it feel like when, especially as an empath, like being like you're already sensitive to the people in your life, like their feelings and their thoughts and their emotions. So now it's like not even magnified to, I would even say like a community. It's like global. Like how do you handle that?
I know it's, I think I'm pretty lucky. I think I've gotten a really good community of people behind me as far as like my followers and stuff like that. You really have to stay true to who you are and, your beliefs and just try not to be somebody who you're not, as long as you're you and you're, true to yourself, the people will, they'll kind of resonate with that. So I feel like that's been me all along. So that's why I've gotten to where I am with like, I have like a great following and like people follow me for, my journey and they know how we co-parent and stuff like that. So it has been really great, but you do get those very few trolls and stuff like that who, give their unsolicited opinions.
You're like, oh, okay, thanks.
that comes with like every territory. You know, I think you have to have, sometimes, you know, I do get comments and, they'll be like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe someone just said that to me. Like, and as an empath, it kind of gets to you. Like, you're like, I think people will think that way about me or, you know, say these things. And like, you kind of always want to like change people's minds. But I think over time, you just realize and you come to the conclusion that you can't, you're not for everybody, you know, like you have to just take the good with the bad. And, I think thankfully, like I get more good than bad. So
I agree. I love following you.
So
I love following you because like I think like even if there is something going on and like, and I've said that I don't watch the show, but I listen to your podcast or, you know, I watch you on social media and I just notice with you, you're like, hey, listen, like if something's going on, you're just like, yep, this is where I'm at currently. Don't really know what's next or like, you're just very like, this is it. And people must like latch on to like, okay, like she's up front, you know, you're very upfront at least. And you're just like, I don't know the answer. So here's my, I don't know. Or it's just authentic. Yeah. It's very real and maybe people appreciate that. So with you and Cal, cause Cal is like really, she's purple blue too, but I feel like she leads more with her purple maybe.
Yeah, she leads more with her purple.
Yeah. So like, how did you two, I guess you had a rocky start or whatever. So how did you guys finally, was there just like a meeting? Was there just like, hey, let's just come on. There's a kid involved. Like what was the initial move there to reconcile? What is that noise?
Sorry, my message.
Oh my gosh. No, I'm just happy it wasn't me because I am so bad with tech, Vee. I'm like, is something of mine doing that? So I'm glad it's not me.
Hold on 1 second. Let me try and like turn this off. It's like a group chat that I'm in, and they're like just all of a sudden want to talk all the time. So
that's so funny. I always joke blue people get involved in the group texts, and if you're indigo like me, you mute it. And then you check.
Yeah, they're all muted, but it's since I'm on my laptop. It won't come up on my phone, but my laptop, it keeps making all these noises.
Oh my God, they're talking to each other? That's my nightmare. I can't have my devices speaking to one another.
My nightmare. How do you turn this off?
Oh, there's some green person listening that's like, you just go here and you do. Where's Joe? While we wait for Vee to figure out how to turn off her group chat notifications, I want to talk to you about your style. You know, your style isn't a one size fits all. It's about what suits your body and what suits the moment. So why not shop at a store that is personalized to your size and style? Introducing Stitch Fix Freestyle. It is a shop built just for you. This is a dream come true for me. I go to Stitch Fix Freestyle and there it is. Everything I like all together. Already picked out. I just get to choose whatever suits me for today. Stitch Fix Freestyle is your trusted style destination where you can discover and instantly buy curated items based on your style, likes, and lifestyle. Whether you're looking for a brand you love or to try a new one, at Stitch Fix Freestyle, you can shop a range of over 1,000 brands personalized for your size and fit. With styles for workouts, to work wear, for lounging around the house, for a night out on the town, Stitch Fix Freestyle has clothes for any occasion that you actually like and that fits you. So there's no subscription required, and they offer absolutely free shipping, returns, and exchanges. So get started today by filling out your style quiz at stitchfix.com/KYA. That's stitchfix.com/KYA to try Stitch Fix Freestyle. That's stitchfix.com/KYA. Sometimes it's really hard not to worry about the what ifs of life. What if I don't make it in time? What if I mess up? What if I feel like I'm in danger? If you don't want to worry when it comes to your safety, you need Birdie. Birdie is a personal safety alarm designed to be easy to carry and simple to use. When you activate your Birdie with one quick pull, the alarm will emit a loud 130 decibel siren and flashing strobe light to help deter an attack. Unlike pepper spray or other deterrents, Birdie is no danger to you. You can feel confident to use it without the worry. Birdie goes anywhere you go. The alarm comes in multiple colors. I always get it in my aura color. I got one for my daughter in her aura color, and it has a brass keychain. So you can attach it to your keys or your bag, or if you're jogging, you can attach it to your like sports bra, anywhere. It's light, it's cute. and it's easy. Over 300,000 birdie alarms have been sold, and they have thousands of 5-star review. So join the flock today for a safer tomorrow. Right now, She's Birdie is offering our listeners 15% off your first purchase when you go to shesbirdie.com/KYA. Go to She's Birdie, spelled SHESBIRDIE.com/KYA for 15% off your first purchase. Great stocking stuffers, by the way, for all your little friends. That's shesbirdie.com/KYA. All right.
So yeah, we started off and I think we were all so young, and I think the idea of co-parenting was just so far beyond what we ever expected. We just didn't know it. I don't think it was such a thing like 10 years ago as big as it is now. I'm not saying people didn't co-parent, but I think now it's just more talked about and it's a little more common. So, starting off, we didn't really know what any of us were doing, so it's bad enough you have two parents who are already rocky and don't really know what they're doing. And then, add a step parent. I don't really know what I'm doing either.
Right.
So I think it's, us, it was just a lot of growing pains and a lot of, definitely a lot of growth, and just realizing like, we don't need to hate each other. We don't, we're all just trying to be on the same page and be on the same team, which is like Team Isaac, Yeah,
that's the child that they share together, right?
Yeah, it's all about the child and like keeping them happy and trying to raise them in an environment where, they don't need to worry about, which parent they're talking to. Like, we're all on the same page and we all need to be on the same team, So I think I just came down to me and Kale just finally realizing like, listen, I don't want to do this with you anymore.
Right.
Like, we don't need to be on bad terms or anything. Like, we need to get it together. So I mean, I think it doesn't happen overnight, obviously. It just kind of like gradually happens where we just like kind of started getting to know each other more. And we were like, okay, like, you're not that bad. And, I think she started realizing like at the end of the day, I wasn't trying to take her place. Like, I'm just trying to help you guys. I just want to be here for you guys, and I want to be here for Isaac. And that's pretty much it. Like, I'm not trying to compete. I'm not trying to compare, like, none of that. I don't need to, I'm just an extra person, a bonus person who loves, this child. And I just want to make a difference in their life. And, I don't feel like we will get there if we're all, on the wrong page, or if we're constantly arguing and stuff like that. Like, I just feel like if people need someone who's going to be, that mutual person in the middle, and, just trying to get them to see things as to where they probably don't see it.
So you were like between her and Joe, like you would, do you find yourself sometimes being like, oh, hey, wait a second, like me and Cal will just figure it out, Joe? Or do you ever find yourself kind of stepping in those roles here and there?
When it comes to Isaac, no. Like, I feel like at the end, no, I feel like at the end of the day, they are his parents, so they need to really figure it out. I don't need to say, oh, like, this is what you need to do. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do. I just, if they need an opinion or if they need help, like, then that's when I step in and I'm like, I'm more than happy to help you guys out. But I do feel like at the end of the day, I want them to figure it out.
Right.
Like, that's the goal. I want them to know how they can communicate with each other. Like, they have to figure that out on their own. So that's where it kind of gets hard, because they're both very like hot-headed and like, what I say goes. Like, they're kind of like that. And I'm like, you guys can't be like that. Like,
right. Like some sort of mediator like that or whatever. Like, hey guys, figure it out, call each other and just figure it out or whatever. Yeah. So that's kind of what you found is a helpful tool possibly.
Yeah. And it's really hard. Like, as an empath, I feel like, for me, it's hard to tell someone like, oh, you're wrong, especially when it comes to someone's opinion or parenting. Like, there is no wrong, like, what you think is, just because you do something differently than me doesn't automatically make it wrong. I mean, yeah, it could be a bad decision, and I can voice that in my opinion and say, listen, I don't think this was the best decision, or, we could have gone about this better. But as far as I have a hard time telling people, you're wrong, because to me, it's not wrong. It's just it's just something different than what I would do. And I don't know if empaths can like relate to this. It's so hard.
That makes so much sense to me, because I'm like that too, because it's hard. There's great, like when you're an empath, I think there's a lot of gray area, you know, you can see everyone's side. So like, you know, your husband and then, you know, I guess Isaac's mom, you're like, okay, I get what she's saying. And I also get what he's saying, but it sounds like what also that you did in order to kind of just like help the situation was step out of your ego a lot. You're like, you know what? It's not about me. And so you stepped into more perspective, which is love, I guess, and just seeing people for who they are. I think that's really hard to do.
Especially when you have that purple in you.
Yes.
Like, because I'm still very, you know, like I can be that person that's like really feisty and I need like, I mean, even in my own marriage with my husband, like I can be that purple that's like, no, like this is it.
Oh yeah.
And that, you know, that comes out. But when it comes to other people and just like situations that I know are so sensitive, that's when my blue, like that's when I try and just lead with my blue. Even if I feel my purple coming out, I'm like, you know what? It's not about me. Like I have to think about that. I have to think like, it's not about me. I'm not going to make an argument about me, you know, or anything like that. So you kind of have to it's hard being a step parent. You have to like put all of those feelings aside. I mean, you can't address it. Like I address, you know, things to my husband all the time. If I do feel, you know, indifferent or anything like that, like I have told him things in the past that we've worked through. But I think where I'm at now is I just want them to get on the same page. And I want to be that person that, you know, she knows if she needs to talk to me, I'm here for her. And he knows, obviously I'm his wife, like I'm going to help you too.
Yeah.
But I'm not here to take sides. I don't want to take sides.
Like, it's a job you don't.
There should not be any sides when it comes to parenting. You know.
Yeah,
like
it sounds too like you were exhausted. You know, too. It's just like this is too much for me. I got to cut some jobs out here. And
it's exhausting.
Right. How do you deal with that? Yeah. All right. So that's really interesting. So it sounds to me like you really dropped your ego. You really stepped into perspective. You really saw people for who they are. I feel like you and Cal kind of did this thing where you're like, listen, we're going to let the past, like we've grown, we're different, that kind of thing. I think you both realize the situation's not changing because there's a kid involved. So it's like, you know, so it's
like, this is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Does it ever feel like a sibling relationship sometimes or something? I always wonder that, or like extended family or something where you're just like, you know, we have to get along, so let's just brush stuff under the carpet and just move forward. Do you guys ever feel like that?
I say this to Joe all the time. I always tell him, like, I feel like she's like that long lost like cousin or family member, like that, you know, like you always want to be there for them. Like that's, I look at Kale like she's my family, you know, and I think that's why, you know, people look at us and they're like, oh, you guys are like great friends and stuff. And I'm like, no, well, me and Kale have known each other for a little over 10 years now. Like at this point, she is my family, you know, like she's someone who I've grown up with. She's someone who, you know, I've seen grow, and, you know, whether we both make the right decisions or not, we're in each other's lives, you know? And, if anything, like, I don't ever want to, I want to help her, you know, the same way I know, like, she will help me, you know? So as far as our growth and, you know, just parenting and stuff like that, I just want to be there for her. And, the same for my husband, you know? And I don't know. I just feel like this weird, like I want to not protect her, but like also like, you know, she's wrote books on this, on like her life and stuff like that. And she's been through a lot. So it's like when you don't have that family, when you don't have that support system, you know, we're kind of like all you've got and stuff along with like your friends. But I just feel like this really like I just want to help, you know, like I just really want to
totally understand what you're saying. When I was on your podcast, that was the first time I ever met Cal, and I got the same kind of feeling towards her, like, you know, she's been through some stuff like that. And whatever, you know, I'm sure she's, you know, however she's perceived sometimes, it's like, well, there's a backstory. So there's sometimes like you just got to hold space for somebody a little bit and go from there. Not everybody can do that though. So
for sure.
What do you do? Okay, so you two figured it out. Like, what advice do you have? Because there is probably a lot of people listening, and they're like, you know, we haven't figured it out. Like, she did this to me, and then this happened, and then she did this, and she called, like, awful things, like, like, how do you have, and I'm sure on your I know on your podcast, you guys cover a lot of this. So, like, what advice do you have for that? Like, the other person's just not doing I'm going to lead with my love thing. Like, what is your advice?
I know. It's funny. We get a lot of people, you know, send in their stories, and there's a ton of people who write into us and let us know, you know, we're not there. I don't think we're ever going to be there. So what advice do you have? And for me, it's like, you know, we also have to be realistic, you know, just because I'm someone that leads with love and I'm empathetic, that doesn't mean everybody else is going to be in that same situation. So no, you might not ever have the same relationship that I have with Kale, you know? But I think as long as you're doing what you need to do and, you know, like not putting yourself in those situations, and you kind of have to learn how to almost just take a step back and, you know, take yourself out of that, like just for your own mental health, you know, like if it's not a situation and it's toxic, like don't force it. And I tell people all the time, you don't have to force a relationship with, you know, your a co-parenting person, or, you know, a biological mom or a biological dad, like whoever it is. It doesn't need to be forced. Like if it's not going to happen, it's just not going to happen. But as long as, you know, you're going into that relationship with, you know, like I don't know how to explain it.
I know I'm following you. So I totally get what you're saying.
As long as you're doing what you need to do and, you know, like, you know, you're making the best decisions, like don't completely turn negative on the person. Just do what you have to do, you know? And I think the rest will fall into place. I mean, if the person's not going to follow your lead, then that's on them. You know, you can't really force someone to make a relationship with you. You can't force someone to change.
Yeah.
It has to be completely on them. But I think over time, if you're, you know, doing the right things and being a good person, I totally believe in good karma. And I believe that, you know, the universe will work in your favor. So that's just kind of how I always am, you know, and there's plenty of times where I want to, you know, do things out of spite or like just be mean or something, like, and
that's
not even,
human.
I'm not even talking about co-parenting. I'm just talking about in real life,
right.
You know, like in real life situations. But I always just think, you know, like at the end of the day, where is that going to get me? You know, like what's going to happen to me after I do this? Like, I'm not going to feel good about it. You know, it's not going to make the situation better. So you just need to, you know, better do what you need to do and, you know, just try and lead with positivity. If you can't lead with love, just lead with positivity in your own self and your own decisions. And, I think everything will probably fall into place.
I got chills. I feel like that's so essential for people who might be struggling right now. And I love how you just said, like, basically you got to let go of control what you thought the relationship should look like, or what you like, you know, maybe you want it to be like you and Cal, where it's like, okay, they seem to, I don't know, you guys go to each other's things and you celebrate each other's kids together and whatever, you encourage the sibling relationships, which seems really nice for all the kids. But it's like, not everyone, it sucks if you don't have that. It really does. It sucks. And if like the other person that you're co-parenting with is like not gonna, whatever, they live in spite, or they live in that anger. So you got to let go of control that, you know, maybe it's like, we don't talk, maybe we just communicate in a different way. So.
Exactly. And I think that's the hardest part people have, is just letting go of that control and, you know, not having a situation where you thought it was going to be this way, or, you know, just comparing yourself. Like in my instance, people compare their relationships to like me and Kale, and I'm like, don't do that. Number one, because if you look back to where we started, it was the worst relationship, you know, like, and it's taken us like years to get to this space, you know, it's all about time too. Like people heal on different levels. Like, you know, like I can easily forgive somebody, depending on what they've done. But like, I feel like I can forgive people, you know, probably way faster than somebody else may forgive that person, you know? So it's all about just like the wavelengths too, you know, the wavelengths of it. Like, you know, people might not get over things just as fast as you, and that's okay. And you have to accept that, you know, like there's plenty of things that I like didn't forgive Kale for. And, you know, I was a little iffy about, you know, like, I'm never going to talk to her. Like, we're never going to have a relationship and stuff like that. But like, as you get older, you kind of just realize like you're holding on to like hate, you know, and hate and grudges. And that doesn't get you anywhere, you know, like it really doesn't. If anything, it affects you. It affects your personal life. It affects your health. Like holding on to hate and things like that you originally have no control over, you know, it's not for me. And I've realized like, that's not for me. Like, there's a different way, like I can tell people how I feel, and there's a different way that we can manage situations. And I don't need to hold a grudge, and I don't need to hate this person, you know, like I said, you can't control what people do. You just can't control everything.
Yeah.
So you just have to control like how you take situations, and, how you're going to try and grow from that. But, not saying if the person is super toxic and you really don't want them in your life, you don't need that relationship, like you don't have, like I said before, you don't have to force it. But, I think just like I said before, just doing what you're doing, like leading with positivity and like trying to just do your best. Like that's all you can really do. And it's hard for me too, because I'm also a Virgo. So I'm very like, yeah.
It's like my husband. Yeah. Like you don't forget anything.
I'm right. Virgo, and I'm blue and I'm purple and I'm an empath. And it's like, people don't realize how hard it is for me to balance all these things. Like I constantly want to be in control over situations. Right. But I'm also very empathetic and understanding. So it's like, it's a blessing and a curse, I would say. Like my whole life is like a blessing and a curse.
You're so funny. Well, but I like what, it's like all these challenges that you have, it makes it even more, oh my God, pat on the back to me. Cause I had a lot to say and I just wrote it down instead like that. And I didn't say it out loud.
I exhaled it and I let it go in different ways.
Right.
But I meditate a lot.
Oh, do you?
I love to do yoga. Like I find different outlets to like channel that energy, like that lingering energy and stuff like that. Like if I can't get it out a certain way or, there's different ways that I do that. But, it is very hard, but, I don't know, like co-parenting is like you can't really explain it to someone unless they're actually going through it. Yeah. So I always feel really crazy when I'm talking to someone who's like really not in a situation. I'm like, I don't know if you understand what
you make so much sense to me. Cause like I'm not in that situation and that's why I didn't want to speak about it. I want to, and you're so well versed in it and you like live it. So like, and you've been through the bad stuff and you got to like a good side. And this is, and you're like, you're not saying it's perfect. You're just saying like, it's a relationship that you have to work on. And it's something that isn't always going to be the way you want it to. And I like how you said, Chu, that you look at someone's intention, like, hey, they said that, but you have the ability because of who you are being like purple, blue, like, did they mean it? Like, did they mean it that way? Or or does it come from somewhere else? And I was just the receiver of it. And maybe that helps you with your forgiveness process or whatever.
Yeah. And it's not always good. I mean, I wish I was the type of person that was like, like, I can cut somebody off completely and be like, no, like you're not going to talk to me like that or anything like that. But I think it's just, I'm so understanding and I understand how it is to be not even just on the receiving end, but doing that to somebody as well. Like I'm not perfect and I have led with my purple, and I put people in that position where they felt how I felt on the receiving end. Like, oh, do they really mean this? Or is it just, like you said, like just coming from somewhere else, or maybe they're going through some things. So I think, a lot of people don't think like that. And they're like, no, you're just being disrespectful and you're, a big B. Like, I don't know if I can come on here, but
you can, it doesn't matter. That's fine. Yeah. So I love that because I guess that's just real, but you two kind of got to that point where you both are real together. So now you can let your guards down a little bit more. And if someone's having a bad day, it is like a family relationship. Like you're just having a bad day.
We just understand each other. Like, I'm like, bitch, like you need to take a breath. Like, and same with me, like if we're cranky, like just leave each other alone. Like, it's like a family, really, like it's like a sibling or something, or like we just got to that point where we get each other and like we know.
You don't have to put on the facade or you don't have to be
there's never any I never feel like she's like totally disrespected me. I mean, now that we work together and we have a good relationship, I don't feel like when we talk and when we engage in conversation, I don't feel disrespected. Like we know how to talk to each other and we know what we know we can just be real with each other. Like she knows she can be real with me, whatever she feels like she has to say, and the same for me, so I think we've just gotten to that point where like, oh, like she really does, she's like, she does understand and I can talk to her in the same way, because we didn't feel those things before. Like we didn't really know each other. We didn't get to know each other. We didn't want to, so like once we did and we were like, okay, like she actually does, she's trying to understand and she's here for me,
she's trying, or that's her joking, or she's just like that she doesn't mean it when she makes that face, or like whatever. Like that's like, does Joe, this is my funny question, is Joe like sometimes a little creeped out? Is he like, whoa, like you too? Like,
no,
what is this?
It's funny because when we said we were going to start the podcast, I think he thought it was like a joke. And like, I don't even think we thought, like, we were like, kind of like, okay, this would be fun, like funny. hee hee ha ha, but then it became like a real thing. And he was like, oh wait, that's actually kind of cool. He wasn't ever, I think if he was creeped out or like if he really didn't want it to happen, I wouldn't have let it been a thing.
Like kind of more just like funny creeped out. Like really? Like did it like take him a second to be like,
He was a little surprised. He was like, where did this come from? And I was like, I don't know. We were just like thinking about it because it would be fun to help others, you know, and we have a big story to tell.
Oh yeah.
You know, and we just thought it would be like a fun project and something to, you know, give back to, you know, the people who originally do follow us. Like they'll be able to follow us on a different, you know, platform to a different level. We can actually be ourselves. Like I feel like it isn't showed on the show. Like it's so very like cut and dry. Like it's just all over the place. And you don't get like that real, like us, like we're not able to really say like talk about the things that we want to talk about and stuff like that. So, you know, we just found a different outlet for it. And, no, he was like, he's so supportive. Like I can't even.
That's so sweet. One of my favorite episodes was at the one in the beginning you had him on and it was like you girls were asking him questions. Oh, yeah. I love that. It's just so funny.
He like gave us both compliments. Like he's very supportive. You know, when we first started, he was listening to it all the time. I don't know if he still does. He's a little busy, but he listens to it and everything. But he. You know, I love Joe because he is very, you know, he's a Scorpio. We said he was like red, right?
Yeah, he's interesting because like when I look at him, he's got like purple, but then he also has green, but sometimes he wears red. So I think that's his business self. Like when he's like, okay, I got to organize myself into this or that.
I see red in him a lot. Like, I don't know. I see like the red, but I also see so much of the purple. But yeah, I call him like my teddy bear because he's like such a big teddy bear, but he's also just very like stern. Like he's kind of like that balance that I need.
That's nice.
Yeah. So it's like works out perfectly.
Like the logical, you know, like, hey, Joe, I'm going to run all these feelings by you. Let me know what I should do with them. And
he's very much so the logical one. Like if I'm like, if I'm like venting and I'm like, oh, I want to do this or something, he's like, oh, that's not a good idea. Like, don't do that. I'm like, oh, he's very logical, like that. So you need that in your life, whether you like it or not, you really do need that in your life. But yeah, he's very supportive. And I love that even if him and Kale are like going through something or they're on the outs, like he doesn't, you know, he's still supportive, you know, like he doesn't take that out on like us or what we've got going on. Like we kind of know how to separate like the business stuff and, you know, the co-parenting stuff because it's always going to be there. Like the co-parenting is always going to be a roller coaster. It's always going to be up and down. Like, but if anything, we try and take like those situations and, you know, if we can talk about them on the podcast. Cause once again, it's real life, you know, like it's stuff that we're going through. It's stuff that I'm sure a million other people go through. So we want to like bring those things to life. And, you know, as hard as it might be in the moment when we're not all seeing eye to eye, eventually when we get past it, it's like, okay, let's talk about this. Like it was a great learning experience and let's say like what we did to get through it and stuff like that. So that's kind of what we bring to the podcast.
I love that because it's just taking something that kind of wasn't probably fun and then like at least helping people with it. So that part's, and it helps yourself too, like with the healing or understanding.
Yes, exactly. It helped me a lot to, I would say the understanding, like at the end of the day, like, you know, just getting her perspective and his perspective, like, and they're always so different, you know, like it's so different. And I just find it so interesting too. Sometimes like I always find myself kind of like taking like little parts and I feel like a little, not like an investigator, but I'm like, oh, like, this is crazy. Like I'm dealing with two different, like totally different people. And it's kind of fascinating to like see how different everything really is to one person, like how one situation can be totally different to another person. So it's kind of like fascinating to me.
Oh,
almost.
Me too.
Like,
that's why but that's like, I think that's a purple thing. Honestly, it's like, oh, how does this person think? Oh, how does that person think? How does it interact? What truths are in there? How, like all the different filters people see the world or filter through experiences. It's nice. I think when you're purple, it's kind of like, oh, you want to feel that too. You want to relate. You want to kind of analyze it, find some gems from it. It's like a psychic thing. That's what
Yes, that's what I say all the time too. And I'm like, it is like, you know, it can be crazy to some people when you try and talk about it to them or even just saying it out loud. But like when you talk to someone who understands, it's like, yeah, it's so fascinating. And I'm like, oh, good. Like, like that's how I feel. And it's not saying that it's it's not a bad thing. It's just like, it's a really good thing. And it's helped me open my mind, and it's honestly helped me on my co-parenting journey, just to like, let them know, like, like your feelings are totally valid, but so are his, and like you both have to understand, like, both of your feelings are super valid, but we just have to get to a point where we have to learn how to navigate them the right way, where you guys both kind of understand and it doesn't turn into an argument or anything. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
Like, you guys are not wrong, like you're not wrong for feeling how you feel, and you're not wrong, like based on different levels and based on how you guys both view the situation. So it's really fascinating.
Yeah, there is no right. There is no wrong. There's just like, how do we just, compromise?
Exactly.
Speaking of compromise, you have a pink daughter. So
my gosh.
I got to go into Vee because
I actually wrote down a bunch of stuff.
Oh, good.
Like, because, I was like, I want to be prepared when we talk about like this pink aura, because when I do see my daughter, it's funny. Like, I remember the last time when we talked on my podcast, you were saying like, if you can see people's colors, like when you look at them and stuff. And I mean, I'm not quite there. Like, I don't see everybody's colors, but there are a few specific people that I see. And my daughter is definitely one of them. Like, I just see pink. I always see pink with her. And I know, and it's so crazy.
Gives me chills. I love it.
Yeah, and I see red with my husband. But like other people, I don't really, I think it's just like if I have like that real connection with you, that's when I can kind of see. So I do see that pink. So when you said that she was pink, I remember I was like, oh my God, I have chills. Like, I totally see her as a pink aura. Like, and I didn't even really know much about auras like that, or like, so I was like not really knowing what that meant when I did see some of these colors. But when you said that, I was like, wow, this makes so much sense.
Well, that's just pure. Like, because like I say this all the time on the podcast, like kids, for example, they don't know what auras are, but all of a sudden they're like, oh, I'm this and you're like, they get it. You just get it. It's something, it's just kind of like energy. Like, I think, and so you just pick it up. That's interesting that you see it on the people that you're really close to. But maybe that has to do with your psychic bond helps you. Like, sometimes I'll get that people I don't have premonitions for the people that you know versus people you don't know, or things like that. It's more of like that bond between the two of you. But okay, so she's pink, and everybody listening already understands what pink is. But like pink, the way I see it is like creative and innocent and like just childlike, but not childlike, but they're serious about their childlikeness. Like all about the moment and making a moment magical and spreading out that magic and like really relishing in it. And it's almost like usually pink kids especially have an awareness like, this is beautiful. Like, I am doing this. And they want to stay children and they want that experience, but they can be very stubborn. Is she stubborn?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, like no other. Like, everything you're saying right now is just like resonates so well with who she is. She's very like, she loves all things like pink and pretty and things like that, but she values like little memories and little moments. Like, she just won't forget them, like these little specific moments, like she'll hold on to them. And to me, that's very like childlike, because I have memories from when I was a child that I like hold on to. Like, I feel like we all kind of want that pink aura to stay with us, but it kind of lingers. It goes away like as we become adults. And
sometimes it stays. I mean, sometimes I'll read people and they have it still, and it's like awesome when I see that, because I know they fought for it, but like it seems like you're raising her in a way like, hey, no, this is good. This is good.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's rare though to see like pink auras in adults?
It is. I mean, just because I do so many readings, like I come in, like this is the second time I told this story in the podcast because it was so fun. But I was reading this pink girl and I'm like, what's your job? Like, I couldn't get her job, but I knew she like was really, I don't know, there was something about her job. She was like a clown and a princess.
Oh, that's so cute for like kids' birthday parties.
Yeah, and she's like the most popular one. Like, everyone's always calling her and stuff.
That's so funny, but that is such a pink aura. Yes. Like, and that's, so I have like some things written down.
Okay,
like, she giggles a lot. Like, she's a giggler. Like, she'll just start giggling out of nowhere. And I don't know if that's a pink thing, but like, to me, that's like, it's so pure.
It's
and
so
like,
happy. It's contagious.
Yes, exactly. And it's so funny. My mother-in-law was just telling her that earlier. She's like, it's like so contagious, like your little laugh and things that you do. And I was like, yeah, that's what she's like. I don't know what that means. And I was like,
think it's she's trying to say, your mother-in-law is trying to say, like, I feel pure joy from it. Like, she's transferring a vibe. Yeah.
But Vivi was like, I don't know.
Vivi's like, okay.
She's like, I don't know what contagious means. And I'm like,
okay, I got it.
It's so funny.
I'm like, it's totally her channeling the energy. I got like all deep there. What else does she do?
But she's very happy and positive. She makes sure that me and everyone around her always feel loved and cared for. Like, she's very, I don't even know how to explain it, but she's like this with the people that she's like really close to. Like, she holds me really close to her. Like, she always makes sure like I'm like safe and like loves. Like, she's so caring, and it's like, it's so genuine, you know, like, it's like, you know, she's asking from a place of love and like genuine care.
Yeah.
And you know, not a lot of people have that. So
no, she sees you.
Yeah, exactly.
Not like, just as mom, it's like a person, like a soul.
Exactly. And it's so hard to like be caught up, you know, as a mom and like, this is my job and that's like all I am, you know, like, it's so hard to feel that like that way as a mom. Like, I know so many people can resonate with that, but like, she sees me far beyond that, you know, and she's like always asking me like, Mommy, are you okay? Like, how do you
And
feel
she's
today?
like 6, right?
Yeah. She just turned 6 yesterday.
It's very old soul of her.
Exactly. And it's funny because her brother's the same way. I always say like he's an old soul, like just stuck in a young kid's body.
This is Isaac?
He has a lot of a lot of the same traits that she has. So she reminds me so much of him when he was younger too. And just like that just such pure intentions and like that genuine love. And like just reminding me, like, she reminds myself that I need to take care of myself, you know, like she reminds me in those aspects, like, you know, you need to be taking care of yourself, Mom. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
That's right. Like, raising kids can be so healing because you'll see yourself or your inner child or the parts of you had to let go, like right in front of you again. And it can be, so some people get triggered by it. Some people get like, because of whatever happened to them. And some people get like you, they're like, oh my gosh, I really need to go back and nourish it.
Yeah, exactly. So she kind of reminds me of that, but she loves animals too. She's obsessed with it. She wants to be, so these are the things that she wants to be when she's older. She wants to be a vet. She wants to be a scientist. She wants to be a singer. Okay.
We can put all that together.
I was like, okay, you can be a vet and like sing to the animals. Like,
right.
And then you can like be a scientist on the side. I don't know.
She's like Hannah Montana. Like during the day, she's a veterinarian, and at night she's like a international pop star.
Yeah, exactly. Like and it's so funny because she wants to be a singer and stuff, but she's so shy. Like she doesn't like to do things in front of people. Like she's only comfortable around like doing things around like me or her dad or my mother-in-law. And, you know, like my mom and people that she genuinely knows, but if she's like very shy. So I don't know if that's like a pink thing also. Like, she's
I think
really
people get very selective about who's allowed to see it because,
I think that's a great word actually. Cause that's how I feel. Like she's very selective. Like she won't do certain things around even my husband sometimes. And I'm like, she'll do it for me or something, but she won't do it for other people. And I'm like, oh, like, okay, she's just shy. But now that I think about it, like, I think selective is a better word.
Yeah.
'Cause I know she's not shy. I've seen her do things and it's like, you're not that shy, but
she's going to pick her audience today for her vibe. That's what she's going to do.
Exactly. Yeah. She like picks and chooses like what she does around certain people. What else do I have? I have, when things don't come out how she envisioned it to be, she gets like really thrown off. Like she likes consistency and but I feel like that's like some of me coming out in her because I'm like that. So I feel like she's catching on to my vibes also.
Your artist's vision about things, like a little bit maybe like, well, this is how I envisioned it and it has to be this way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. So I feel like she's catching on to that.
That's cute.
But she loves getting her nails done. She likes having her hair done like exactly how she wants it. Like she'll tell me in the morning, like I want my hair in a ponytail or a side ponytail or 2 ponies. Like she knows exactly the girl knows what she wants.
Like she thought about it and she comes down with directions.
She knows what she wants. Her clothes, like she likes to match her clothes. So I don't know if that's like a pink thing, but
don't you have something with her? Like what is that? Because don't you have like a collaborate? What is that? Like sparkling pink.
Yeah, we did a collaboration with this clothing line, and they have a whole bunch of different clothes for girls and stuff, and it's like a lot of mommy and me things. So
yes.
we were able to collab. Yeah, we were able to do a mommy and me collab.
I loved
and of
that.
course, the whole collection was like based on butterflies, unicorns, like her animal print. Like it was so girly and pink. Like if you see the collection, it was like mostly as a spring collection. So
because when I was following you during that, I'm like, wow. I'm like, the pink came out to play. Like
the pink came out so hard. Like I was like, only a pink aura would understand this collection. Like it's so Vee. It's so pink. Like you see it and it's just so girly and like, oh, it was so cute. Like
it was great.
She told me, she's like, Mommy, I want to do things with butterflies. Like I want to do everything that I love.
It makes me so happy.
Okay. Yeah. So it was awesome. It was so cute, but she's such a pink aura, and I hope and pray that she like holds on to that.
What do you do? Yeah, but like, what do you do? Because it's hard. Because I know you have to send her out. What is she in first grade now? Sixth is first. No, she's still in kindergarten.
She's just started kindergarten because her birthday. Yeah.
Okay, I forget. Every state's different, like how it works with the birthdays. But like, all right, you send her to school. It's like okay, like and it's. Society is going to try to like, what are your tips so far for trying? Well, it seems like you're saying what you're doing is just like encouraging her and whatnot, but how do you encourage her? Like, what are some tips you can give people who have kids like that? I guess I think like we can get scared, like, oh, are they tough enough for like whatever? Like what are your things with that?
Yeah, I think it's funny because like I do sometimes I'm like, with her pink aura and like her being so like, she can be really sensitive sometimes and stuff. But I do try and like, I wouldn't say toughen her up, but I just remind her like, you're strong and you have a voice, and I tell her like, don't ever be afraid or scared to use your voice. If you're uncomfortable, if you want to say no, so I really encourage her to just use her voice and like just speak her mind, whether it comes out or not. I don't really know how she is in school, like, so it's weird. You don't really know how your child reacts in school versus when they're at home.
Yeah.
So it's hard. Like, I don't know if she's speaking up for herself with her friends or things like that. But, I do tell her all the time, like, don't be afraid to say how you feel or, say no, because one thing about Vee is if she's not with it, she will say no. Like she's not a people pleaser like me. Like sometimes I feel like I'm a people pleaser, but she is not. And that's one thing that I kind of like, and I'm inspired by her. So she's not afraid to like say no or say, I don't like this or something like that. So I always tell her like, that's fine. Like, that's such a great thing to have, like, keep that up, but also still encouraging her to, just be her and not be afraid and not try and be like somebody else just because she sees it on TV or something like that. Like, and I know it's so hard, like with social media and like everything that we have going on today. I feel like we're living in a world where everyone's kind of just like always competing or like, what's the next best thing or, and I want her, I get so scared because I'm like, what's she going to be like when she gets older? Like, I want to make sure like I'm doing a good job.
Yeah.
But it's so scary. Like you just
I am too with my own kids. Like, I think we all can relate to that. Like, what am I messing up on? But I think also
one little thing you will like beat yourself up over, like, did I do this right? Or did I tell her to do the right thing? Or like, and you just want to make sure you're constantly, putting your child on the right path. But you also like, we have to realize they have to make their own mistakes. Like we were there, we've made our mistakes and we can't be scared of that. So I think I'm slowly letting go of that. Cause that's once again, like my Virgo control thing, like everything has to go the right way and how I envision it. But I know like, that's not what's going to happen. Like, I know this girl's probably going to put me through some shit during her teenage years or something. Yeah. So I kind of have to prepare myself for that. But the only thing that I can do is like lead her in the right direction so that I know I can say like, I'm doing the best I can. Like, I know I'm doing the best I can. And, any little hiccup that we have along the way, we'll handle that when we get there, but I think for the most part, she's such an amazing child. She's so open and she's very curious and like, she's, she just loves to learn and stuff. So I feel like the more I can teach her and stuff like that, like, that's just what I do. Like, I just try and lead her to like the right path but still also let her know, like, you need to sometimes you're going to make your own mistakes, but as long as you're honest with me and you don't ever have to be afraid to talk to me. Just having like that open communication, like that's something that I'm so like, I just want that with her. And I want her to know that she can come to me about anything. Cause I know a lot of people don't have that, especially like growing up as a kid. Like,
yeah.
It was a different generation that was, raising us.
Yes.
So now I feel like things are a lot more different. Like we are able to like really talk to our kids.
Yeah.
And, like,
we have to, and we have to like be uncomfortable with what they're going to tell us and be like, okay, exactly. Here we go. It's really awkward, but I need to hear it anyways. And I can handle that to help you. Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. So I don't know. Parenting is so hard. It's one of the hardest jobs that you could ever have.
Oh, it's hard. Like, cause because we're humans and I know we're screwing up. Like we're all screwed, but I think just from reading adults, I don't have adult kids, but then I'll read like, obviously adults. So I'll read like parents of adults or whatever. And like the best advice I ever got from this woman, and she had 5 kids and they were all really close and they're all adults. And I'm like, okay, it's after the reading. I'm like, can you just tell me like what your secret is? Like that they all talk to you and they all talk to each other. And she's like, okay, this is what you have to do. And this is what she told me. She's like, let them say anything they're going to say to you. Smile and nod. And then go scream in a pillow in the bathroom. She's like, just let them say whatever they're going to say. And that's it.
So accurate.
And she's like, they just have to say it. After they say it, they're fine. Just smile, be like, and then go scream somewhere else.
Okay, yeah, that is so true. My daughter has said some things and I'm like, oh my God, like where is this coming from? Like kids just really say the darndest things.
They do. And I love your advice, Vee, because like that's good for everyone. Like I feel like that helped me too, actually. And then also, but for Pinks, the big thing with Pinks is oftentimes people try to take the ownership of their voice or their ownership of their bodies or the ownership of more than other people. So like you being like, listen, like it's all like you intuitively know those pitfalls for her. And you're like, no. So I feel like just from a Pink perspective, I think that's amazing.
And I feel like that's something I went through, like growing up too. Like I didn't really have a voice. Like I was always very like to myself. And like, I was kind of like I was just always in my own shell. Like I never really spoke up for myself or like did things that, showed that I, like voiced my opinion. I just wasn't open like that. And not to say that it was like a parenting effect. Like I think it was just like me and just how I was, but I don't want her to be like that. Like I realized how in my life it, growing older as an adult, like being like that has affected me. Even in my relationships and stuff. Like at first I was like, I would keep everything inside and then I would just like explode. And that is so not healthy. So, I just don't want her to be like that. So I'm so glad that she's like so open and she can talk to me. And it's funny, like even, how kids like will do things and they like know they're going to get in trouble and they'll like try and hide it from you or something like that. She's cut her hair like not too long ago. And she cut like a chunk of her hair. Like I'm this long and threw it in the back of the couch and like didn't tell anybody. So like big stuff like that.
That's
like
awful.
She's gonna get in trouble. She gets so scared that she's gonna get in such big trouble. But for me as an empath, I'm like, I don't want her to ever feel like she can't, like, oh, if you tell me something, I'm gonna yell at you or like you can't talk to me. So like my first instinct, I was mad about it, but I'm like, no, I'm not gonna let her know I'm mad. I'm gonna let her know like, like obviously that was a bad thing to do. But next time, don't throw it behind the couch. Like, you can come to me and you can come to me and like talk to us. Like, why did you do this? Like
why do you want a different style? Let's go about that a different way.
I was literally like, I had an appointment for her hair the next week. So I was like, if you wanted me to push your appointment up, baby, like that's what we could have did.
Because that's what it was about. She's like, I need a new look and I need it now.
The pink in her.
And I got it. Can handle it.
Yeah, but it's like so little funny things like that like have opened my eyes. I'm like, I want her to be able to talk to me. So, so like now, like she knows, like she'll come up to me. She's like, Mommy, I know you're probably going to be mad, but I'm going to tell you. And I'm like, oh God. I'm not going to be mad. I mean, I'm going to try not to be mad, but like, I just try and like understand where she's coming from.
Yeah.
And, like
you're going to get Mommy's authentic reaction to you, but I'm not going to be mad.
Yeah, exactly. I might have to do what that lady said and just go like
scream in a pillow in the bathroom.
But, you know, but then we're going to get to the bottom of it. But, you know, it's just so important for her to know that, like, you can talk to me and you don't have to be scared to, like, come up to me because of my reaction. I think a lot of kids are like that too. Like, they're, oh my God, like, if you hear kids talk sometimes, even when they're older, like, oh, I'm not going to tell my mom, she's going to get pissed or something. That's one thing that I've always said. I don't want to be that parent. I don't want to be that person that my kid is, like, scared to come to me, to talk to me about anything, because then, you know, that causes rips in your relationship with your child. And, you know, they're just like, they're going to be scared of you, and, like, they don't need to be scared of you, you know? So you want to help them, if anything. So I try and change my reactions to things. And
that's good. If I had to sum you up, I would say you're really good at perspective. I would say out of everything that you've talked about today for us, I mean, that's what I learned from you today. You know, like, stepping back into perspective from the viewpoint of love is, like, a really effective tool for dealing with lots of different situations. Yeah. Vee, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you so much for sharing, like, sensitive things that you've learned. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate. Where can we find you? Give us all your handles and obviously the podcast.
Yeah, definitely. So you guys I have my personal Instagram, which is Beautify Me, and it's all, like, lifestyle. I'm really into makeup and, like, all the girly things. So it's Beautify Me, VEEAUTIFY me, ME. And then we also have our podcast. If you guys want to check out me and Kayla's podcast, we talk a lot about co-parenting and just mom things too, like, just things that we go through. So that's our Instagram is Baby Mama's No Drama Podcast. And yeah, I also have a small business. I sell, like, makeup and jewelry and all the things for mamas that need, like, a little pick me up and stuff.
We need that.
I'm a small Latina owned business. And you can find me on there. It's Vivid, VIVID, Belleza, BELLEZA. So I've got a lot of things going on, but once again, I appreciate coming on here. It was so much fun. It's always fun talking to you, Michaela.
I love talking to you. Thank you so much, Vee. And thanks, Mystic Michaela Spiritual Family, for tuning in. You know, this podcast is for you and about you, and we will catch you next week. Take care.
Bye.
If you want to be the most interesting person at the cocktail party, well, hop on over and listen to the Brain Candy podcast.
Our award-winning content will have you laughing while you're learning.
We read all the best articles, books, and studies, and keep up with new TV shows, documentaries, and pop culture. And then we cram it all into 2 shows a week.
Conspiracy theories, cannibal rabbits, unsolved mysteries, the history of the Walkman. There's something for everyone.
The Brain Candy podcast. Find our link in the show notes.
Or simply search for the Brain Candy podcast on your podcast app.